Welcome, mortal souls, to Strange Darkness Radio. Within the echoes of our hosts' haunting voices, terror weaves through the airwaves like a malevolent symphony. I am Benson, your spectral guide, leading you into the uncharted realms of the macabre. Brace yourself for a descent into a paranormal abyss with hosts Bobby Washington, Carolyn Grey, and Amy Tydeman. They traverse through tales that linger in the shadows, spectral apparitions, haunted domains, cryptids, and otherworldly encounters. Embrace the darkness, extinguish the lights, steel your nerves for a bone-chilling night into the heart of the unknown. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Strange Darkness Radio. This is your co-host, Carolyn, coming to you live from the historic and haunted Hotel Alex Johnson in Rapid City, South Dakota. So far, nothing has happened, nothing paranormal yet, but I will definitely keep you updated and let you know if that situation changes at all. Anyway, I'm here with our co-hosts, Bobby and Amy. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
And today we have a very exciting show for you with an incredible, amazing guest who I have been wanting to get on our show forever. So very excited for that. I'm going to try and keep it as professional and as unbiased as I possibly can.
But, we know how we everyone... Carolyn, just okay. Now we have to put the brakes on for a second because Bobby has to be Bobby. But Carolyn loves to fan out on our guests, which is good. And so Melissa, she will fan all over you. So just be careful. You might get some wind on you.
I'm an enthusiast.
But yeah, so Carolyn is leading this show tonight because she's a big fan of Melissa. So go ahead, Carolyn. Sorry.
Big, huge fan. Yes. So like I was saying, I'm going to try to keep it professional. I'm going to try to keep the fangirling down to a minimum. But yes, just know that I am very excited to have this guest on tonight. She's incredible. She donates her time and her services. Everything she does is for free or by donation. And she and her team actually go on home visits and help people who are really struggling. She runs an amazing business called S.P.I.R.I.T. And last time I checked, there was an almost 2-year-long waiting list to get an appointment with her. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she is somewhat of a local legend and celebrity in her town. So yes, we're going to introduce her in just a moment. But first, let's go ahead and check in with everybody. Amy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing A-okay. I'm coming to you from boring suburban Rockland. I'm not at some historic haunted hotel. So
wow, you gotta step up your game.
No ghost stories.
No ghost stories today.
Just a regular boring house. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bobby, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. I was spending my day getting a very beautiful tattoo done by a great, unbelievable tattoo artist. And
you actually went and got a tattoo?
Yeah, I told you didn't. Yeah,
I know. We knew about it. Yeah.
She's like,
she never reads Bobby's text messages, by the way.
Yeah, only when.
No, I knew you were talking about it, but you just don't. You're just such a not tattoo person. I mean,
well, yeah,
awesome.
these are like me. It's on my arm. They'll see it. They go to my Instagram. They can check it out, or they can maybe I'll put it up on our Instagram site. But
That's
we'll
the same
see.
person you told us about, right?
Yes.
And the design you showed us? Okay.
Yep. Diana is amazing, tattoo artist. And she's actually my only tattoo artist moving forward. So yeah, she's amazing. But
so that's why you almost missed tonight, because you were busy getting a tattoo.
Yes, but I wasn't going to miss it. I knew timing wise, I had to move some things around, but I just wanted to make sure I was here for it. But yeah, yep.
Oh well, thanks.
So fun times.
Thanks for moving your schedule around for us, Bobby.
Oh yeah, no worries.
It's not like it's your show or something. But
I know, huh? That's true. But it's all of our show.
That's awesome,
Carolyn.
I know, it's all of us. It's a group effort.
Oh, and just for the record, I'm not sure what this show episode will be, because I don't want to say it now and then it changes. But just for the record, as of today, we have finally reached 10,000 downloads, which to me is amazing, because we only put out 2 shows a month. So I just want to say thank you, girls. It's been an amazing ride, and much more and quicker in downloads and things we'll get to eventually as we churn out more episodes, with the bonus episodes coming soon, to have 4 episodes a month running. So again, people love the show. They just want more of it. So thank you. We have reached 10,000 downloads. So you might catch me at the local Hilton, just for the record. But yeah,
right?
Amazing. Exactly. I got a party.
Yeah, congratulations to us. I can't believe I almost forgot to bring that up. Yes, we have finally reached, we've reached 10,000 downloads. It's amazing. So thank you so much to our audience, and thank you, Bobby, and thank you, Amy.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank me,
Iowa,
man.
Somebody knows somebody in Iowa, because there's something going on in Iowa. But yeah, anyways.
Is it Iowa? I thought it was Idaho. One of them, yeah.
Now it's Idaho. It was Idaho, I think, last week. Now it's Iowa, but Midwest, I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
What's the country we're popular in? It's England?
Yes, because of your guys. I don't remember their names.
My connections out there.
Yeah. Do you remember their names?
Yeah.
The podcast.
Semi-skeptic?
Yeah,
I remember the podcast.
Okay, that's all that matters.
Tony and
Amy.
David.
Okay, Amy.
Oh my God, maybe
stretching those brain
I don't
cells.
remember. Oh, is that right?
I don't even know.
Sure.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. Well, they're the semi-skeptic.
Oh, they were. I wasn't on that episode, but I'm pretty sure they were incredible and fun.
Great podcast.
Great time.
Just to be clear.
All right.
Yeah, well, thank you, England. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Every country, a lot of countries, thank you. And a lot of cities in the United States have been amazing. So thank you definitely for listening. We really appreciate it.
Yes. So anyways, on to our guest. Everyone, please welcome Melissa to the show. And we're going to let Benson take it away. So.
Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, the nexus of the night where shadows speak and the unseen become seen. I'm your spectral guide, Benson, guiding you through the uncharted waters of the paranormal. Tonight, we delve into the ethereal realm with a very special guest, Melissa Lockett, an empathic medium and aura reader, Reiki master teacher, and a beacon of light in the darkness of the unknown. With a lifetime of spiritual encounters and a heart dedicated to bridging the gap between the living and the departed, she brings her divine gift to our airwaves. From prophetic dreams to the ability to sense the emotions and experiences of both the living and the dead, Melissa's journey is one of discovery, service, and the pursuit of understanding the great mysteries that lie beyond our mortal grasp. Her third eye opens the door to the soul's energy, revealing the colors of our innermost selves through the reading of auras. As investigation coordinator for the Sacramento Paranormal Intuitive Research Investigation Team, Melissa stands at the forefront of scientific paranormal investigation. With over 100 official investigations under her belt, she wields an arsenal of equipment designed to unveil the truth and provide solace to those haunted by uncertainty. By day, she may walk among us as an analyst, but by night, she dons the mantle of a spiritual warrior, leading the S.P.I.R.I.T team into the heart of the supernatural. Trained by renowned figures such as Amy Allen of the Dead Files, Sarah Lemos, and Jeremy Leonard, Melissa's expertise is as vast as it is profound. So, turn down the lights, open your mind, and prepare to explore the spectral messages and mysterious energies that Melissa Lockett will share with us.
Welcome to the show, Melissa.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
Yeah, we're glad you like it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I don't know if you heard me a second ago, but I have been trying to get you, not contacting you, but I've just been bringing you up. I've talked about you so much. I'm kind of a fan. So, well, I'm so happy that you're here. We're all really happy to have you. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Of course. No, it's absolutely my pleasure. It's nice to be able to share, a little bit of the kind of the woo-woo, the ins and the outs, the mumbo and the jumbo, as some people call it. It's nice. It is nice to be able to share what I do. I am very passionate about it. So thank you.
Nice. We love it.
We want to get into all of that. We want to hear all about the mumbo and the jumbo. So we're here for it.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot. And you're right. We are booked out quite far. S.P.I.R.I.T. So, it's not quite 2 years, but it kind of ebbs and flows. I do actually technically have a booking for next year, but it's a repeat client that wants me to book every year. For them, because I also, besides the investigations, the house blessings, all of that, I do the private readings as well. And group reading. So one of the things he's booked me out for a group reading for next year. But we're booked out close towards like late fall, early winter, for the most part.
Wow.
But I am getting way better with managing my time and my schedule, and actually scheduling time off. For the fact I simply don't want to get burnt out and just overwhelmed and not be of true service to those who need me. I want to be able to give the right amount of energy, the right amount of light, the right amount of love. And if I'm just doing back to back, I'm going to have...
You overwork yourself.
Yeah. And it's the same thing I tell a lot of my clients too. You can't pour from an empty cup. It's, it's not Mardi Gras. You don't have to throw your energy out like beads to everybody. So try to get people to balance energy. I had to take the same advice. So I'm doing much better with that. But we do have a lot of people who are in need on the books for a variety of things, whether we've done a lot of private house blessings and energy healing sort of cases and clients lately. A couple, a lot of different readings. So not everything gets published on our website or on our Facebook, all of that. Some of these are confidential. But we're just out there trying to help as many as we can, as often as possible.
Well, we want to hear all about it, and we're going to get into, every aspect of what you do, because you do different things in your line of work. But and I'm not complaining, but I had to wait 2 years for my appointment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Worth it. It was worth it.
Well, yeah. When we first started a little real deep bit of media attention, I would say somewhere around 2018. A lot of news, media, radio shows, different.
Yeah, you blew up.
Yeah, we it exploded so immensely in a beautiful way, because all I've ever wanted to do was reach the people that didn't know that there was this kind of help for them and provide something that I felt was done in an appropriate, loving, and ethical manner. And so, yeah, our calendar really blasted to Kingdom Come there for about a couple years. And now it's more just consistent and regular and more manageable, but we're still getting tons and tons of messages, emails, DMs, all that stuff. So those people out there who are listening and who will end up listening to this, the ones that I haven't gotten back to yet, please be patient with me. Please be forgiving. I'm only one human and I have 1,000 different things spinning in the air. So I will get back to those messages as soon as I darn well can.
Wow.
Yeah, you're good. You're good about that. And just to be clear, my appointment was several years ago. So yeah, it sounds like you've you figured out a way to manage the schedule a little better.
Yeah. And if I have to refer people out because I can't get to them right away or if they're too far away or different, variety of things, I definitely have ways to kind of work it out a little bit better. I've learned as I've kind of trucked along.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a whole bunch of questions I want to get to, but Bobby or Amy, do you have anything you'd like to add or ask right now?
I kind of want to get to go from the beginning. So, Melissa,
origin story.
Yeah, exactly. On how you started out and, how you knew you were sensitive or could read auras. Can you let us know about your background?
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a lot of terrible excitement,
Yeah.
But what really happened is from a very, very young age, I simply started feeling things, knowing things, seeing things, having dreams that came true. One of the biggest and most profound moments was when I was just a young child. And I used to sleep with my bedroom door open and at that age. And I saw this apparition start to form in the hallway. It was like almost it's so weird to say it was a green mist. It was this green, weird kind of fluxing fog that was developing in the hallway. And I just sat there wide eyed and freaked out, and doing the blinking and thinking that I can't be seeing this. This can't be real. And it started to take a humanoid shape and develop more. First I saw the skeletal figure sort of it, then skin started to happen. It just started to develop more and more and more. And then at the moment I realized it looked like my family sort of bone structure, I screamed like bloody murder. I mean, I was like 7 years old, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it turns out now through later kind of understanding, figuring it out through meditation, it was one of my great grandfathers.
Oh, wow.
He was just simply manifesting in the hallway and apparently would always come and check up on me. I just happened to be awake at the time. And so,
see it.
both of us, we were both in shock. He apologized, so we're good. And the spirits do know my boundaries a whole lot better. That a very shocking point forward, I go back and forth. I would just know things about friends. I would feel things, sense things, pick up on things, but I often kept it very hidden. I was simply afraid of being judged or mocked or, I was already kind of the weird kid. I didn't want to be teased further. So I really did keep it quite hidden and repressed, although a few people would see it leak out here and there in different conversations of different things. But it wasn't till after the death of my grandmother on my mom's side that I really started to kind of tap back into things and think, I know I'm a person of faith, but I'm also obviously very metaphysical, very spiritual, all of that. Mm-hmm. And I just needed to be sure that she was okay. And so I started thinking about it. I did watch more of the paranormal TV shows, kind of, maybe figure a little more out about myself. But it took a few years to really even then be brave enough to dive into more. And she gave me a dream to get me out of a previous negative relationship that I was in. She gave me the exact kind of path work to sort of get out of something really toxic and negative. And that's when it really hit me. I have to do something with this. I have to reopen this gift. This is not going away. Pandora is not going back in the box. Mm-hmm. I have to listen to this. And so I started exploring a little bit. I took a few pictures in my room. I got this really bizarre photo that what I later found out was, I guess, like a vortex or a portal.
Wow.
I've had it explained to me by my mentor, Amy Allen, that basically it's very common for sensitives, especially really profoundly, gifted sensitives, to develop this energy flow or this energy connection in their own space. That it's, not unusual that was happening. It's not a negative thing either. And she wasn't surprised that there.
So I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but just can I ask about that? So what does that mean exactly? Does that mean that because you have this ability or this sensitivity that vortexes kind of just open around you, or you're just able to sense them better, or what exactly?
A little bit of both, honestly. I think with the way she explained the one that was basically coming through my bed, that was because of my energy and my connection to both kind of the divine, the connection to, the Mother Earth. It was this sort of connectivity, and it was very tightly protected and controlled by my grounding and my grandmother's spirit as one of my guardian angels. So, it's not an open like vortex where you hear people have a portal in their house and it's, poltergeist and things are coming through. And
right.
Not that type of energy opening, but it was very much my own sort of connection to the spiritual realm. But I also can pick up on that sort of energy in other places, ones that are caused by positive things and ones that are caused by negative things. So it is something that I am a little more receptive to. But once I got that photo and I really started to figure that out, I started sending out to some of my friends, some of my people that I knew that were into the paranormal. And then it just kind of all went, spiraling from there. Then, I started going on investigations with a few different groups, kind of dialing in what I liked, what I didn't like, what I agreed with personally from an investigative standpoint, what I didn't, and really just honing it in. And then I started taking classes with other people to grow my gift a little more, or at least be more comfortable with it. So, because, instead of trying to hide it, I needed to know how to do this safely, because you have to be safe with the other side and with the paranormal. You can't just go out there and, be willy-nilly and not, know what you're doing. Really negative things can and do happen. So I just started educating myself. I met some really good people through some of my investigations, and we decided in 2015 to actually form S.P.I.R.I.T. And we felt we could do this in a way that truly had meaning and truly had significance. And we decided, we're a volunteer organization. We have day jobs and all of that. We work on a donation basis, like you had mentioned earlier. People can definitely support our mission, and it's helpful, especially with battery costs and gas costs. But
that's true.
It's really, a nice thing. And we just, kept at it, chipping at it. And now we're, booking way the heck out. So it's been a real blessing and one heck of a ride. But yeah, I've always felt things in a different way, in a deeper way. I've seen things that apparently not everyone sees. And the aura energy that I see around people's physical bodies, apparently not everyone can see those. Mm-hmm. And it was a conscious decision that, okay, I was given this gift. Now I need to do something with it. It can't just sit there anymore on a shelf and collect dust. I need to be able to help people.
Yeah. I have one more question before Carolyn takes us down her road. So the interesting thing, okay, I saw an entity or something I couldn't explain when I was younger, and that's what sent me down this road that I've been on. So as a person with your skill set and knowledge of the afterlife, what is the reason why you do this? Because you know that there are these entities and other beings that are out there. So I'm curious on what keeps you motivated, because you already have that identifying factor of there is something else after this.
Yeah, you think you kind of want to get the answer. Well, you got it. You're satisfied.
Yeah.
I guess, I am an analyst by day, so I do have a very analytical nature. I like to get answers. I like to dive deeper. It's a real combination of things. But because I have experienced the paranormal throughout my life and didn't really know who to turn to or talk to, The other members of my group, they have all had paranormal experiences of some kind throughout their life as well. And we wanted to be the group that, people can turn to when they think there is no help for them at all, when they feel like they are alone and they don't have anyone that will take them, seriously. And that they're scared. They want to live comfortably in their own homes. My passion is just making sure people feel happy and safe and have the answers. That really keeps me motivated, healing and helping the living and the dead, because both sides of the veil deserve that healing and deserve that peace. So I'm here to help those souls that are on the other side of the veil, if they want to convey something to someone, or they have a message to give, or if they need help crossing over or anything like that. I think that's very important. And then just our living clients, like I said, they deserve to have peace of mind in their home and not be terrified. And, we've come into so many clients' homes where kids are scared, pets are scared, people aren't sleeping, their livelihoods are at risk because they can't get enough rest to work. I mean, nobody should be terrified in the place that should be their sanctuary. So every single client that reaches out, they need something, whether it's a private reading and they just need that closure and that peace of mind, or if they have, full on Armageddon going on in their house and they need one heck of a blessing.
Yeah.
I'm there for it. It keeps me motivated because healing is what I was put on this planet for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So helping people is your motivation.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely.
So I had a quick question, Melissa. So now that you've, done this for a number of years and you've honed your skills, do you see things that just terrify you as you go about this process? Like, does that happen to you now, or do you feel like you've just seen so much that now it doesn't really terrify you anymore?
So that's kind of interesting. Like I get made fun of within the group because scary movies terrify me more. The fake gore, the fake horror, that kind of stuff. I have really bad problems with jump scares and that kind of stuff. A weenie in that, I get scared with certain things, and it just it's kind of something I do get surprised. But as far as the paranormal is concerned, most of the time I'll get nervous at first, but I'm so, I guess, used to just experiencing things and just, I don't necessarily get fully terrified. I do get apprehensive. I do get a little, that feeling in your chest when you're about to go into something you're not sure. I will definitely get that if it's kind of the unknown. I have seen dark shadows pop out of corners before, and I'll admit I'll yipe or possibly swear at it.
Yeah.
That'll happen. I think I would say my startle reflex is the big thing. I don't necessarily get terrified, but boy, do I get startled. And then if I see something really dark, I get almost mad if I figure out that's what's harming my client. That's what's causing them all the problems. Okay, now what do I have in my cleansing kit to get rid of whatever that is? So I find ways to work around the terror.
Mm. That's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're kind of bouncing around here, but can I just ask you about your home visits and I guess what kind of cases do you take on? What kind of cases really get your attention? And are there different levels of urgency when you get a call like that?
So yeah, with the home visits, we tailor it to every client, what they're needing, what's best for their situation. I try to be as objective and go in as cold as I can, but sometimes I need to know some base level stuff. If people are being scratched, harmed, if there's something dangerous going on, we do have to have at least enough information to bring the appropriate whatever it is, whether equipment or cleansing stuff, or how many of the team members need to go. So we do ask a few basic questions. We'll basically take almost every case. There are sometimes I have to refer people out for specialists, depending on going on. If I've done my thing. You know, we've investigated, we've blessed, done the whole 9 yards. And then the land tells me it needs a shaman to come out, or it needs this type of holy practitioner, or it needs this, or it needs that. I will then, you know, let that client know, oh, okay, we've done what we can. We've pressed the reset button for you, but you also need to add these other layers and these other ingredients to appease whatever the energy is. Sometimes that there needs to be a Native American blessing done to the land, or sometimes it needs to be a different religious leader, or there's sometimes
like it gets specific based on the case and what's happening.
Yeah, very much can.
Oh wow.
I can do quite a bit of the different, you know, layers and things. I'm even trained. I'm a trained demonologist by Jeremy Leonard, who was on the Ghost of Morgan City. He's also the Cajun demonologist, and you know, I've learned a lot from him. But at this point, for legal liability, I don't do the full exorcism of a human. I can do deliverances if they're kind of in the state of oppression, almost possession, like they're not quite fully taken over, and I'm capable of doing the full thing. But legally, the church is more protected than an individual. What if something goes wrong? What if something goes wrong? You know, I don't have the kind of legal protection that the church would. And so I'm very careful on how I approach that. And then I try to refer people out to the appropriate avenues for that sort of thing. But I've absolutely removed extremely dark and demonic entities off of property, demonic attachments off of people that haven't fully taken over the individual. We've taken on some pretty nasty cases, but I'm not afraid to share. You know, I'm not one of those investigators or healers. Oh, I can do everything and I know everything. That's so egotistical to think that. I believe it takes a village to heal. So I love being part of the process with my clients and with the other side. And if it's something that I just don't feel right doing, or I don't feel like I have the full expertise, more than happy to do research for people or point people in the right direction. But you know, we go in and do everything we can, up until the point, if it's not safe for us, you know, if there's something else going on that is a safety liability, you know, we're going to say something. We're saying, you know, we're not able to do whatever this is. You know, if there's some sort of domestic thing going on, if there's something else going on that's legally not safe for us, or, you know, needs some sort of other involvement, we're to kind of let people know that.
To all our devoted listeners out there, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you for tuning in and joining us on our eerie adventures into the unknown. Your support makes each episode of Strange Darkness Radio even more thrilling. Do you have a spooky encounter or bone-chilling tale to share? Don't keep it to yourself. Call our Strange Darkness Radio hotline at 916-741-3032 or drop us an email at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com to be featured on the show. Your story could send shivers down our listeners' spines. Stay connected with us on social media for exclusive updates and behind-the-scenes content. Follow us on Instagram at Strange Darkness Radio, X at SD Radio. And remember, whether you're commuting, unwinding at home, or braving the darkness of the night, you can listen to Strange Darkness Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's journey into the unknown together, if you dare.
So that's actually one of my questions. So, and this is going to be a two-parter now, because I have another question. But basically, I kind of have this idea or belief that it's kind of like your belief that that can, you know, overpower these negative energies and these negative demonic entities, whatever they are. It's the power of your own belief that can kind of, I don't know what the right term, but like expel it or, you know, keep it away from you. Do you find that to be true, or does it depend on the energy and the energy's beliefs?
Yeah. It can definitely be a sort of a mixed bag there too. Your belief and your faith and your desire to drive whatever type of entity it is, even if it's just a nasty dead human who's wanting to attach to you and siphon from you, or if it's a darker, lower level energy or whatever it may be, your ability to invest in yourself and in the healing is absolutely an important and integral part of it. I'm not Glinda the Good Witch. I can't wave a magic, wand or whatever and just make things go away. The client has to be equally invested in the healing process and potential aftercare. Like I said, we go in, we press the reset for whatever it is, whether I do a Reiki healing or house blessing or both or whatever. The client may have to do a few little bits of aftercare. People have probably seen that, like on the Dead Files. There are a list of things you might need to do. Maybe do some therapy, maybe go see a Reiki master, maybe go do this. I try to inform my clients to the best of my ability that there may be extra layers of things to do. So if the client's not invested in it and they think we can just come in there and click our heels together and make everything, go a certain direction, well, yeah, the likelihood that they're going to be clear of whatever entity it is, it goes down. It's not going necessarily to be as successful if they don't believe in it too.
And that makes sense, because if it attaches to a specific person, it's that person is the one who has to kind of get out or fight it.
Have to be a huge part of it. I mean, in an exorcism or deliverance or even attachment removal, because I'm definitely good with attachment removals. I can definitely get that attachment to break free, but the person has to actively, be involved in that process and stay involved in that and keep things away from their energy field. So yeah, if they're not willing to kind of push while I'm pulling,
you can't do everything yourself.
It's got to be something that they want to. Now, I know of cases where there's been full bore possessions. I have, thank God, have not had to do something to that level. And priest or whoever, they're delivering the person, they're exercising the person, they're pulling that spirit out. But they do talk to the human inside too. They say, you have to fight, you have to, do this, you have to want to be, okay. That's tell true. The individual they have to do that. So yeah, they absolutely can. You can definitely protect yourself by bubbling your own energy, and you can be part of removing things from you and keeping things from you for sure. So it is an inside job.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I was watching a documentary with my dad, and I was a really little kid. I was probably like 5 or 6, and it was about a demonic possession. And I remember I got so scared, and I was asking my dad, like, could that happen to me? And he said, no, because you have to, if you're spiritually strong or you're aware, you can kind of protect yourself. Like you said, you can kind of create this bubble around yourself. So that really only happens to people whose defenses are down, basically. So
it is more common that there is some sort of weak point. Yeah. I mean, it's not that anyone necessarily brings it on themselves or, anything like that. It's not that they're quote unquote to blame per se, but it is definitely if you've got something going on spiritually already that you're just feeling weak or physically
vulnerable
and vulnerable in some way, or you're dabbling in something you shouldn't be, and you're in a more vulnerable mindset. Obviously, different substance abuse problems can sometimes weaken the vibration of a person, make them more open to different things, latching onto them. There's a variety of ways that these things can and do happen. And again, it's not necessarily always the client's fault. I mean, I unfortunately have seen children that have had spiritual influence and spiritual attack, but they're also, quote unquote, they're vulnerable because they're young, right? So there's ways that these darker entities will try to find their way in. So definitely having some good spiritual strength. You don't even have to believe in whatever is normal per se by everyone. Just having that you believe in some sort of higher power or higher collective or a positive energy, and believing that you are part of that healing process and putting that protective kind of bubble on you really does make a difference. Being aware that you can fight these things off in a way definitely makes a difference. But we've seen some people that there shouldn't have been any way for certain things to come in, but there's always that little something that was not talked about. There was some sort of trauma or some sort of event or something that just tipped open the door just enough for something to come in. And it's amazing, how small of a door that they need.
Well, I'm gonna let someone else ask a question here in a second, but I just am curious before we switch gears. Can you tell us about some of the craziest calls you've ever been on, or like have you ever confronted a demon yourself face to face, or any calls that stand out to you or that left an impression on you that you'd like to share about?
Oh, I've been on some weird cases since 2015. I've seen some things, and technically I've been investigating since 2013. Just took me 2 years to figure out how to start my own group. But yeah, we've seen some really bizarre things. One of the most well-known investigations and haunts that we've done is the Dorothea Puente murder house in downtown Sacramento. And
I watched that one.
Yeah, that one was gnarly. She was the sweet little old lady that went to drink down at the bar, and she let people rent rooms in her little house. And so she killed them and she buried them in the yard, cashing their social security checks.
Yeah.
Terribly nice. I'm gonna say. And so investigated that location with my friend Yamara she was formerly with Univision 19, and she's, because of some stories she did there, she's moved to bigger and better, and she's blossomed all over the place and had Emmy wins and nominations. And the Dorothea piece that she did for her news station actually did get nominated for an Emmy, so that was kind of cool. And we saw and heard some stuff on that investigation that just still sticks to my bones, a little bit. We were running the S.P.I.R.I.T spirit box, which is a pretty common piece of paranormal equipment. And we were talking, I believe, to her, and we asked, well, what's your name? And across the spirit box, that is just clear as day, said Death. And I was like, the hell it is.
Oh my God.
Gave me the willies to say. And then I said, well, are there any other bodies out in the yard, or are there any other people that we don't know about? Spirit comes across the spirit box and says, dig.
Wow.
I said, no,
Creepy.
You want to? That's not.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna let that go. I'm not gonna deal with that. Did use also the structured light sensor camera, which people have probably seen on some paranormal shows, where it creates the stick figure shapes, where it's basically mapping out when there's nothing there and it's mapping a stick figure. You ask why, if there's no humanoid person or figure or something there. And we got 2 stick figures in a particular kind of sort of utility area. And apparently it's the same area that Ghost Adventures got stick figures as well. So I found it interesting.
Wow.
Got similar evidence in a similar area of the house. The reporter and my now husband and co-investigator both got growled at as they walked by a closet.
Wow.
That did not get caught on audio, unfortunately. That was a disappointing thing, but equally scary anyways. Nonetheless, it was very creepy. And so I found that whole investigation was just chock full of weird vibes, weird feelings, obviously very creepy responses. It really stuck with us, but it let me know that as much as we've, people who have been there have tried to tell her, you got to go, you got to move on. That woman just refuses to move on. She won't leave. And what are you going to do? She is sort of, she knows where she's going. Yeah. So I don't anticipate her leaving.
And I wonder, does it have something to do with her victims that she's thinking that she's, there with and still have them trapped?
She is. There was one male that we picked up on, both on the structured light sensor. I believe we did get some spirit box voices that were males as well. We got a couple of names. So yeah, they may be holding her hostage in a way, or she's holding them hostage. Hard to say, but there's some sort of weird, sick, symbiotic something going on there. that I don't know how anyone lives there, but people live there. Oh, and some of them, they don't have any experiences. They're doing fine. Some people do have experiences. I guess it depends on the individual. There are people that may not feel anything, and maybe they would do okay there.
Yeah. So is it a small apartment like set up to where it's like 4 units? Is that what it is?
The way
it's a house.
It's more, yeah, it's a house. The way when we went in there, it was like the top floor was this husband and wife. I think they've since sold it. And the bottom floor was like they made it sort of a mother-in-law quarters, and the older mom, she was living in the downstairs quarters. So they did have it kind of broken up in that sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's one heck of a interesting, old Victorian.
Yeah.
It's a Victorian house. It's probably haunted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so that's
terrifying.
Very, very creepy ones. And one of the ones that was just should have been run of the mill that really bothered me was a particular case where a gal called us out that she was seeing all these horrible things and seeing all this stuff, and she was feeling tormented. And she actually flopped onto the floor and started writhing, and her eyes rolled back, and she shut her eyes, and she started swearing at us in all kinds of different languages, some languages I didn't even understand or recognize. Wow. And she started saying some pretty vulgar stuff and F your God and all this kind of, really terrifying, just horrible things. And it went from bad to worse, in a hurry. And we spent a couple hours just trying to fix her. We were going to investigate the house. We were going to bless the house. It was going to be this whole thing. I had to focus 100% of my energy on her. We did break the attachment that apparently had been with her. She had moved from back east to California, and she had had this attachment for this whole time. And we were able to break that attachment. She did require a profound amount of aftercare, and I advised her on that multiple times. She wasn't necessarily willing to do a lot of the aftercare. So there did come a point where we had to sort of terminate our professional relationship and connection. And I gave her bullet points of every single thing that needed to be done. At a certain point, you can lead the horse to water, right?
Oh, for sure.
Right.
But it was terrifying watching this adult female just go down and start saying some pretty bizarre things and speaking in all kinds of languages. I mean, that was a little bit horrifying to experience and to work through. So, we've gone on a few that have been kind of amusing too. We did one case. It wasn't anything dark at all. We went down in this little basement, and we were going down there because they said there was some weird stuff down in the basement. And we go down, and all of a sudden we hear this horrible snarling. It sounded like demon dogs in like depths of hell, and it was just all this horrible thing. And we see this little side window, little French bulldogs were snarling at us. They were so cute, but not to eat us alive. And obviously we jumped 10 feet. We're walking down in this dark, sort of musty basement, and all of a sudden it just like, bah! What is that all about? So every once in a while it's not, demons. Once in a while it's stuff too. So.
That's too
and
funny.
the family who lived there didn't realize that they had, dogs in the backyard or their neighbors' dogs, or
they did. They actually apologized profusely. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's our dog." So they felt pretty silly about that. But anyway, it turned out to be a good case nonetheless. We were able to help them out and give them a lot of validation, and the spirit of their one client's father came forward on the spirit box, and so there was a lot of good healing that came out of that one too. But quite the startling beginning to all of that. We see a little bit of everything.
Yeah, very case by case.
Yeah, and I see that you guys get a lot of things happening in your locations that you go to. Is it because they're so active, or is it because once you get there, you kind of attract what's happening in the home, and the entity is like, oh, she can hear us, or she can recognize us, or she can feel us?
Yeah, like, are they reacting to you?
Some of them are. Some of them hide from me. If they're darker, they do hide from me. They don't like my cleansing kit. It's the old adage, like, you don't call the fire department unless there's a fire, right? So most of our clients that book us for these full investigations that we bring 350 pounds of gear to, we spend anywhere from 2 to 6 to 8 hours on a case, depending on what's going on. We bring this 35-pound cleansing kit, all of this. People aren't calling us in for the big old full shebang unless they really have already like exhausted other ideas, thoughts, options. They just can't figure it out, or they can't get any relief. So we're called in to when we really needed to be there. Our activity, our presence there can elicit a little more forward activity by some of them. Sometimes, like I said, they will hide from me if it's a particularly nasty entity, knowing what I can do to remove it. It'll almost get eerily quiet for a little bit, but they can't fully hide everything. You go around, we've got EMF meters, we've got static meters, we have the spirit box, we've, got things that measure different temperature and other environmental factors. There's usually something will, get picked up on by one of these devices or me as the sensitive. And so we can usually find a way to sort of fish them out, even if it is something that's trying to hide. They just can't avoid and dodge every single element that we bring to the table.
Wow, that's
interesting.
Very detailed.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, when you go home, how do you decompress from all of that? Because I mean, that's just crazy, some of the things that you see. Like, what do you do when you go home?
Usually go to In-N-Out.
Nice one.
I usually eat protein after that. I drink a lot of water. It can be very intense. I go in very prepared, spiritually and emotionally. I try, like I said, bubble myself up. I ground, I center, I have a meditative process to make sure I'm ready to go into the location. So when I'm leaving, typically I don't have any residual issues or any sticky energy most of the time. If I'm going to do a whole blessing, I get a blessing when I give a blessing, because I'm walking around, the smudges all around me. I'm getting blessed while I do the whole, whole thing. So
That's
I'm
really
clearing
good.
my own self. But I just, I go home and I make sure I eat and drink something. I kind of reground and get back to center. Usually pick up an animal. I've actually got one of them right here. Wonderful, everything.
Oh,
My Hattie bear. Hello, Hattie.
Wow,
animals are very
eyes.
healing. Yeah.
So, I will spend some time with one of the animals and just center myself and just, clear whatever I need to do. If I need to diffuse some essential oils, I've got some Palo Santo oil, whatever I need to do to just get back to that centered space. And I find that after doing a full blessing of a space, I just feel reinvigorated and restored, because I know that they're now on the right foot. The clients can now have a good restart. And that gives me a lot of peace, which definitely helps.
Very interesting.
It is tiring. I gotta say, I do usually need to sleep in the next day. That's an occupational hazard, the paranormal hangover.
Yeah.
I bet it would be draining. I mean, you're using all of your energy.
Mm-hmm.
You must just be drained afterwards.
And they try to, teach us to ground and be the conduit, let the energy flow. Don't, do it of you, but like through you and all that kind of stuff. And that all is true and works, but even heavily used conduits get a little warm, you get running through the lines, it's still gonna, heat up a little bit.
Overheat.
So it's, at the end of the day, it takes some energy to do this, for sure. Just staying good on your electrolytes and doing the best that you can. And it's part of why, Amy had to walk away from the Dead Files after 15 years. It's a lot. It's a lot on the body, no matter how gifted you are, talented you are, how good you are at centering, how good you are at clearing. You've got to put energy back in the energy bank, because it does take a little bit of juice.
Wow, that's definitely good to know.
It's time for a commercial break. We'll be right back. Introducing Popcorn Remix, the ultimate snack for late night cravings and podcast sessions with Bobby at Strange Darkness Radio. Escape the guilt of sinful snacks with this sweet or savory treat that transforms familiar flavors into popcorn delights. Indulge in the tempting variety, from Charlene's banana puddings to lemon cake, savory lemon and pepper, and incredible jambalaya, featuring over 50 flavors. Each bite is a mysterious encounter, captivating your taste buds like a shadowy figure in the night. Let the popcorn seduce you with its sinful allure, offering an irresistible guilty pleasure with a healthy twist. It's a burst of excitement reminiscent of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Popcorn Remix is the popcorn experience that keeps you craving more, as if you've danced with shadows in the moonlight. For this delicious adventure, contact them at info@popcornremix.com or call 678-806-5855. So go to www.popcornremix.com to have a remix in flavors. Now let's get back to Strange Darkness Radio.
So can I ask you, when you go to like a haunted location or, someone's home who's struggling with something and something bad has happened there, let's say, can you sense or like feel what has happened? And how do you receive that information? I mean, how do you see visions, or is it a feeling you get, or your intuition?
So as far as maybe things that have happened on the physical location,
yeah,
by the clients or before the clients are there, or kind of all of the above, I guess. I mean, yes, I can absolutely feel residual energy. Being an empath, I will pick up on, if there's been a recent fight or if people aren't sleeping well. I've touched someone's bed and I can feel that they have a bad knee and they have sleep apnea, all sorts of weird things.
Oh, wow.
I touch different objects in a place. I guess it's called psychometry. It's the reading of objects. When you hold something or touch something, you can kind of get it's almost, for me, it's like a wash of emotion and feelings, along with a little bit of like a ticker tape sort of vision in my third eye, my mind's eye. I will get little bits and pieces of this information along with just that sort of vibrational feeling and almost like a computer download, I'll just sort of all of a sudden know something and feel something and be like, hey, did this happen here? Did this happen there? And most of the time I'm pretty accurate with what I've felt. One particular location that stands out that was very significant, and I was called in to such a sweet lady. Her father had died in the house, and there were some things she needed to work through, some things she needed to figure out. And we went down to part of the house, sort of a downstairs area, and I almost collapsed in one particular spot. I felt this horrible, sharp pain. I started tasting copper, like blood. I started feeling really, really just not well. And right when I was standing in this one just junction of the house, like one direction was like bedroom and a bathroom, and the other direction was like a living room and upstairs and the whole thing. And I almost dropped to my knees right on that spot. And that was the spot that her dad not only had died, but he was murdered right there in that exact spot where laying and bleeding out. And
oh my God.
I still get the chills about that one. And, to work through the feelings physically of his death state was so emotional for her, for me, we had this moment of like, oh my God, like what was this whole thing? But it made her feel very validated too, to know like exactly what had gone on, what I saw in the vision of what led up to that. The whole thing gave her a lot of validation. And we were able to really kind of also figure out what I was feeling was a residual part of the haunt. It wasn't he wasn't reliving his death. It was just that horrible, tragic moment, literally soaked into the ground right there in that spot. And so his soul was still able to communicate. He was able to indicate that he was fine, that he was transitioned and moved on. But but that heavy suffering soaked into the concrete of that floor. And boy, did I bless the heck out of that space. Because, I wanted to lighten it up as much as I could so she could, she basically, I guess, inherited the home. I wanted her to enjoy the space. I wanted it to be a positive experience, moving forward for that family that had gone through unspeakable tragedy.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a residual haunting. Like he's not stuck there. He's moved on, but the energy or the event has literally been absorbed, like you said, into the space and just repeats itself.
It's an echo. It's like a record player. Think of like Gettysburg and how people still hear gunshots and cannon fire and soldiers shooting. It's just, it's that record player. That memory was so intense that it's the stone tape theory. It soaks into the location. So yeah, it really can happen. We, in our own spaces, our own homes, we are giving off and throwing off energy and vibrations into our own space all the time. And, our people that come after us, they will feel little glimmers, hopefully it'll be positive what we're leaving behind.
Right.
Positive or not as intense.
Yeah. It's an interesting experience, being in a place that's got so much history.
And you get this information through like all your senses, it sounds like. So you can taste things, you can hear things, you can feel things.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, all the clairs, all the clairvoyance, the sentience, the clear tasting and a clear smelling. That there is a couple of those are, I guess, not as common in the clairvoyant, series of gifts, but they do happen. And I mean, I have smelled my grandmother's old perfume that this house has been completely renovated for one, but this was her home. And, the perfume that she used to wear, it's not present in the house. It's been discontinued for probably 25 years. And I smell it every once in a while. My grandfather just passed last November, and that was a hard one. I'm still not processed through yet. But I have occasionally smelt a cigar, and he would occasionally like to just have one of those here and there once in a while. And I'll pick up little things like of both of them just wandering through, and I walk through this whiff of that smell. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, they're
here.
They're coming to say hi. They're coming to check in and making sure I'm doing okay. So, it's a weird kind of blessing and gift to have. It's harder, obviously, when I get to the places where people have died, and if there's been a murder, tasting the blood, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That one sort of sucks, but it's also validating in a weird way to pick up on, everything through every sense, including my sixth sense, I basically, it is an immersive experience for me when I'm actually actively tapping in to the other side. It's full immersive.
And it takes a lot of trust, right? Because aside from, getting confirmation from outside sources and other people, you have to really trust your intuition and trust what you're feeling and what you're receiving. So how you kind of already went through this earlier, but just how did you learn how to really, I guess, understand what you were experiencing and trust it?
That took a lot of faith to really walk through a lot of that and believe in it. So many things keep happening. At some point, you can't ignore it. You can't deny it, right? You keep seeing things, feeling things, sensing things. I can't deny the experiences that I have. I would explain to friends, "Oh, you had a fight the other day with so-and-so, and they were wearing this color top, weren't they?" And watching their eyes pop open, and like, where did you know about that? And just these little things kept happening over and over again. But I really got a lot more confidence after Grandma passed, and she just started giving me prophetic dreams, even more than when I was a child, like even more, intensely as an adult. So I just kept getting nudges and pushes that said, all right, I need to understand this. I need to learn about this. And I just started doing the research, jumping into the Google cave and, just trying to find out information and learn. And grow and who can I learn from. I obviously took a bunch of classes at different metaphysical shops and learning about chakras and Reiki and getting my Reiki master attunement and learning about grounding and learning about centering and doing all of that and just building upon kind of, you build a foundation. You can't build a house without, pouring the foundation first. You can't put the roof up first. That's not going to work out. So kept, adding, here's a wall, here's a window, just adding more and more and more. And learning from Amy Allen and gaining so much knowledge from her and still actively, being mentored by her. And then psychic medium Sarah Lemos offers this amazing course, Pathways to Spirit. Thought, that'll be great for me. Take that. I took the Demonology and Spiritual Warfare course with Jeremy Leonard, and just every little bit, just continuing to learn, continuing to grow, continuing to add, because we never stop learning, right? It's the moment we think that, oh, we know everything, then what's the point of, continuing on? We really have to continue to want to grow, to learn, to expand. And my clients deserve that. They deserve me being the best me possible. So anytime I have the opportunity to just add a little more knowledge, or even just researching online, buying books, whatever it is, I want to keep knowing and learning, so I can just help and heal as many individuals on this planet as I can,
So it's something that you practiced and you learned and you have taken different courses and different classes and learned different methods. And that's so true what you said. I mean, the minute you think you know everything about something, that's when you shut yourself off to receive any new information.
You can't grow. You can't grow anymore. You become stagnant.
Right.
And I refuse to do that. I really want to keep growing and blossoming, and I know I'm not always going to get it right. And I know I'm not always going to have every answer. And I know that as a human, I can be flawed, and I'm okay with all of that because I'm just part of the village. I'm part of the healing tribe, out there to just try to share a little bit of the light that I have with everyone else around me. And yeah, I was born with these gifts for sure. These were divinely chosen gifts that I was born with, but it's just like a beautiful garden. They have all these little sprouts coming out of the ground, you see them poking out. But if you don't give that garden any water and any sunshine, maybe a little miracle grow here and there, whatever it is,
right,
your little seedlings aren't going to really do anything. So I was given all these wonderful, beautiful sprouts. Well, let me sprinkle some things on there that might help them flower a little bit and just do something productive with all of this. Otherwise, what am I doing?
Right. You have to nurture and practice. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. So we've heard about your gifts and your clairvoyance. We've heard about, the calls you take and helping people, and you're going to haunted locations. Now I'd kind of like to get more into your readings, and how you offer readings like one-on-one to people, and you do aura readings, and you do, you communicate with, relatives who have passed and things like that. Amy actually just recently had a appointment with you, from what I understand. Amy, would you mind telling us a little bit about it?
No, I'd love to talk about it. And thank you, Melissa, for seeing me when you did and not making me wait 2 years like Carolyn.
I was able to, work something out there.
Carolyn was
I
bad.
really appreciate
she had to wait
actually,
2 years for that. That's
yeah,
why.
I feel a little cheated. No,
it was very meaningful for me, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, just to preface it, I was a little bit nervous about having, I know initially we were going to do my reading on air, but then I became nervous because I'm like, what's an aura reading? And is she going to, she's going to say, you're a terrible person.
Wow.
She's going to call me out on
yeah, you thought this and you said that and you are awful. So I just had this paranoia.
By the way.
So I'm like, maybe I better try this in private and see how that goes. So, Melissa had me send her my picture 3 days before my reading. And then, I did joke with Bobby, oh, I better make sure like I have like this very friendly, happy smile because is it going to throw my aura off? I don't know.
I even asked her, I was like, what picture did you send? Did you send like something?
No, Bobby wanted to see my picture to make sure it was a normal picture of me. And
no RBF.
I don't know. I just sent like a picture that I would probably normally send to anyone else. So, it is what it is. I was over analyzing the picture that I was going to send.
That's funny.
So, we met on the phone and, Melissa explained the process about what she can do, what the reading would be like. She explained with the aura reading, she's able to see an energetic field around the physical body. Which tells her about people's energy. And so, the things that she tells you, she said it could be things you know about yourself, or maybe you need to work on them. And then, she'll also tell you if she sees any connections from the other side in your presence, such as past ancestors or people who have passed on. So basically spirit guides. So hopefully I explained that correctly, Melissa. Yeah, I tried to take notes because I didn't want to forget anything because it was really important to me. So I thought the aura reading went really well. Melissa went over the colors. She saw my aura, which were red, pink, green, and blue, and some good things that I thought came out of my reading. And Melissa, feel free to jump in if I am wrong about what I'm saying, if I've left anything out, but these I thought were good. With red, she said that I'm strong-willed, loyal, and dedicated, and I stand up for what I believe in. Pink means that I'm very loving, compassionate, supportive, and sensitive. Green was about healing and growth and finding a balance in my life. And then blue means being, I'm a good communicator and speaking the truth of what's in my heart. So, as far as specific things that that resonated with me are the things that I can actually work on. So some things that came out of that were, with the color red, paying attention to my anxieties, tempers, and stress, instead relying on my passion and strength to overcome these. One interesting thing that Melissa did mention is that stress or anxiety can cause flares with technology. So I thought that was actually really interesting. I know that I've talked like in a previous episode about, my TV going on in the middle of the night, and it actually used to happen quite a bit. So,
that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. And because I've had like paranormal experiences. Sometimes I'm like, is that, paranormal activity? But, with that particular instance, I didn't fully feel like it was related to something paranormal. So, so when she talked about that, I thought, well, maybe it is, my anxiety or stress that was causing that. So I really learned something there.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. And then, she, this one really resonated with me about the color pink. I tend to throw out walls and become, very guarded to avoid being taken advantage of or hurt. So that is something I definitely know that I do. I am very, very guarded. I only let certain people in, and, they are very, very few. I don't talk about myself with too many people. I'm very private, like at work. I don't really talk about myself very much. So I'm very cautious with other
Just
people.
The world knows about you from the podcast. I'm just joking.
Yeah, there are bits and pieces, but overall, I'm definitely very private. So, her advice to me was to find, a middle ground, give out my energy and compassion on my own terms. And then one thing that was really interesting, and I actually forgot to mention it during the reading, was she said that I have a natural predisposition to receive spiritual memos such as signs from the other side. So she did mention that ladybugs could actually be a sign. And I didn't get a chance to mention that to you, Melissa, but literally like 3 hours before my reading with you, I had a ladybug fly onto my windshield as I was driving. And it actually stayed there for the longest time. And
I hope you didn't
remember, yeah, I thought it, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, that is so strange. It's been on my windshield forever as I'm driving. So I really like to think that was a type of sign. And it was actually very, very comforting to hear you say that, Melissa.
Love that.
Yeah. And then what else? Just work on healing and expelling negativity and toxic people. I think that's probably something that I've, it's a struggle with, in making meaningful relations, just making sure I eliminate just any kind of toxicity. So I thought that was really good advice. What else? Definitely take a break from technology. I think that's something I could do, and really a lot of other people too, as well. Reconnect with nature. I think that's really important.
Old ground.
And then, and another piece of advice: let fear flow away. There's a call from my spirit guides to release my fear of change, of what's to come, fear of loss. Wow. So I do, and I know that I do operate from a constant state of fear and worry. And, I find it limiting in a lot of aspects in my life. So it was very reassuring to hear that I'm surrounded by guardian spirits who are leading me in the right path and supporting me.
Aww.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then, and I will say the most meaningful thing for me was when she talked about the spirit guides that she saw around me. She had mentioned 4, 2 men and 2 women. And one of them I actually felt like could very well be my father, just based on her description. A man close to his 70s who is very stubborn, a very smart man, very quiet and stoic man who, would only share information when he needed to. Very hard worker, a guarded persona. That definitely sounds like my dad. My dad was the most stubborn person I've ever met. He was very quiet, very private. It was hard to, get him to share too much. She had mentioned this man did not listen to his body, and he didn't want to be a burden to anyone. And that was definitely my dad for sure at the very end. So what I will say is that it was reassuring because Melissa's message to me was that he is fine and he's transitioned. He's not stuck and he is happy now, continuing to grow on the other side. So, Melissa, I did share that with my mother and it made her so happy. So I just want to say thank you, Melissa. It was a very, very positive experience. And I definitely encourage others to explore reading with Melissa. I feel she's very genuine and gifted. I did not get any dishonest vibes or anything like that at all. She seemed very just nurturing, very caring. So it was very meaningful. So thank you so much for that.
That's amazing.
You're welcome. It was definitely my privilege and my honor to do that.
Yeah, I had a similar experience when I did my reading. I've actually done 2 readings with you, Melissa. And one thing that I find funny is that Amy and I are both Aquariuses. Like our birthdays aren't that far apart. And I actually feel like we have some personality traits in common.
I think so too. Yes.
Right?
I would agree.
More similar do
No, I'm just
with
joking.
each other too.
I do not agree.
Makes perfect sense.
Bobby doesn't agree.
do not agree.
What did you say, Bobby?
I said I do not agree. You guys are totally
Well,
different.
of course you would.
You guys are opposite sides of the coin, I guess, for
Well, but what I was gonna say is that when I did 2 readings with you, Melissa, and they were years apart from each other, like 3 years or 4 years apart, maybe. And but when you did my aura reading both times, you said the exact same 5 colors, and I had all the same colors as Amy, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
so that's interesting.
To elaborate on the aura colors too, is that sometimes aura colors will change, new ones will come in, pop out, or some they'll stay very consistent, because we do have some core colors that are always part of our inner core soul. So like, I almost always have green. I almost always have purple. Like there are certain colors that are almost always part of, me. And that's true for a lot of individuals. And now how each color applies to each person, while there are some similar agreed upon meanings for each color, there are really kind of gentle nuances how they apply to each of you. Yeah. So even if, say, we all share green, well, the advice
expresses
and how it expresses on each of us may have a slight variance or slight nuance. There might be some of it that I'll focus on more, like one person will be all about their healing. One person it's all about setting healthy boundaries. One person it's all about you need to ground, or some sort of hodgepodge. And so it really, there's only so many colors out there to choose from, of course. Yeah. But again, it's all how they express in each individual. And I do find, though, that people who like each other, who are friends, who work together, who do something together, there does tend to be a little bit of bleed over in color sharing, because there are some things that are similar. It absolutely happens. Really happens a lot in families too. Relatives will often share a lot of energy.
That's interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it makes sense about the colors, changing, and also the ones that stay consistent, because you have your core personality, but you're also always growing, always changing, and so things change.
Yep.
But can you tell us a little bit about about how you do it, how the process is? What are auras, for people who might not know what they are?
Yeah. So the aura is basically an energetic field outside of the physical body. It sort of surrounds us in layers. And it's our soul energy from what I understand. Who am I? I'm not an expert, right? But I know it's this sort of soul vibrational energy that just emanates, and it ebbs and flows. Sometimes the aura gets a little tighter when we're protecting ourselves. Sometimes our aura sticks out and, a little bit wider in different, times, whatever we're kind of encountering, dealing with that sort of thing. And it's our higher self. It's our soul energy. It is our soul being. And also our guardians, protectors, spirit guides, loved ones can interact with us and connect with us through that auric body as well. The colors obviously have a variety of understood meanings. What one person may interpret them may be a little bit slightly different than another, or a reader may interpret it. There can be some variations. They can also be connected to the different chakra systems of the body, the energy kind of meridians that run through the body. But I just feel them and see them. I either see them with my third eye, sometimes my physical eyes, and also just my sort of, overall kind of my crown chakra. I just sometimes pick up on things that I can't even explain it. I just all of a sudden look at a person and go, oh, look, there's blue, there's green, there's orange, I just all these different things. And then I get a sense of almost like, again, that download similar to the mediumship. I just get a knowing about their personality, their vibration. That's kind of how I can tell how these different colors apply a little bit differently to each individual, because I can see the color, but then the other side tells me information of how that color works with that person and what that's meaning and what they're needing to, do a little bit better here. But look how they're shining so bright and sparkly over here. And it just helps me kind of give that healing message and that healthy self-reflection to the client through what I'm seeing and interpreting. It's a whole larger process, to be perfectly honest. The seeing and then the knowing.
So Melissa, do you see just auras all day long, or does it just kind of come to you, or you mainly just have to focus on seeing one's aura?
I used to see it a little more kind of just all the time, but because I've gotten way better at my energetic boundaries and my grounding, yes, I can kind of get a sense of everyone. I sort of see a little bit of an energy field, but I have to actively almost have permission from that person to really dive heavily, deeply into them. Or, unless their aura is just popping out of, everywhere and ignore it. I try to have better manners at this point and try to be more polite. And even if I notice the energies, I'll just kind of almost filter it like, oh, look at all those colors. Okay, well, it's not my business. And then I just sort of let it go. Only when somebody wants the reading do I really sit there and think, okay, let me actually see which ones am I picking up on, how many layers, what's going on, what is it making me feel, what am I sensing about the person. I make it a more of an active choice and an active process. Yeah, I kind of sense them or see them pretty frequently, but I'm so much better. It's like, I can put on sunglasses to it now. I can filter it a little bit better than I used to. I mean, I used to get all kinds of different things. I would feel somebody's dead brother sitting next to them in the restaurant, and I have to say, no, I don't see it. No, I don't feel it. I'm so much better when I go places now and not being overrun by it, because I've learned those skills to kind of filter better.
I was going to ask that, like, are you ever in public and like someone's trying to get a message through to, someone you see standing in line in the grocery store or like pass someone in the street?
Yeah, it has happened. And most of the time, because of fear or nerves or whatever it is, or not wanting to be impolite, most of the time I filter it out and ignore it. And I try not to, I don't have the guts to approach somebody with something I'm feeling, even if it's really loud and intense. I've made a couple of waiters cry accidentally.
Oh, wow.
But happy tears because there was somebody there. Usually, I ask permission before I invade their energy. And like, so do you believe in, I don't know, mediums or empaths or, I try to broach it safely. One time at the nail salon, the lady next to me, I pulled a full Teresa Caputo, and I just said, look, I happen to be able to sense things. I don't know if you're receptive, if you want me to tell you what I see. They were receptive to it. It turned out it was her aunt. So that does happen on occasion, but like I said, I've gotten so much better at really staying in my own damn bubble and not putting in other people's energy fields. So it's not something I'm bombarded with as much. I'm getting far, far better with it. I can go out to restaurants a lot easier now and larger places. I still get kind of energy drained when it's like a really busy public place, a mall, the state fair, whatever, things like that. I can do those things, but it really does take a lot to stay that tightly bubbled that whole time. So I'm not totally overwhelmed. It can be a little bit of an exercise in patience.
So this is back to the auras thing. I just have to know. So what if you were giving a reading to like a Ted Bundy or something or someone like that? What would you see? Would it just be black or like, has that ever happened to you?
So I have found the people that don't want me in their energy field, the people that are dark or toxic, they won't ask me for a reading.
Yeah.
I won't be solicited to provide such. So I don't typically have to deal with that. And I try to focus on the light and the positive and the healing aspects of anyone's energy field. Hey, here's the things that, aren't bad about you, but maybe you can just fine tune the dial and you can sparkle a little brighter. And here's the things you can work on. Oh, but here are these great things. And I try to focus on the overall healing picture with someone. One of the few times, there's been a couple of moments where I have seen illness in a couple of people, but typically I'm not a medical medium by any means. So I don't focus on that. I probably could be, but I just don't want to. I was actually there for an investigation for a particular client, and I focused in on one pinpointed part of her body. Basically, it was kind of near the stomach, right above it, the duodenum. And I said, I see this weird black spot on your duodenum. I don't know why and why I even got that word in my head, but I told her that. I said, there's something weird there. Have you been to the doctor? I thought maybe it was just a digestive issue. Mm-hmm. She had just undergone and was continuing to undergo cancer treatment for cancer right in that area of the body.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I opened my big trap, but she actually had a meeting that somebody could see that. And I felt like she was actually going to be okay. It was drawn to that area. And then another gal who turned out to have terminal cancer, her whole entire energy field, all I saw was this weird, foggy, gray color. I couldn't pick up anything. at all, besides this weird silvery gray fog around her entire body. And I think she passed maybe 3 months after that, if that. And those have been the only times I've ever seen anything that I would consider kind of darker or somewhat upsetting, but they also, there's a good reason for it. It does now help me to know, like, people to avoid as far as like getting too deeply connected or friends or that kind of thing. If their energy just kind of sucks, then I don't necessarily say, okay, well, no, they got a black aura per se, you know, but if they just don't feel good and their energy field just feels kind of off and I don't see the right combo of colors and we're just not kind of vibing, I'll just sort of put up a little boundary and stick to my own energy field, you know?
Right.
But no, I've never had to read for anybody really, really bad. When I watch like those, you know, murder mysteries and those kind of documentaries on TV, I can see the emptiness in the people. I can absolutely see the emptiness.
Like when they're interviewing like a person who murdered someone or something like that.
Yeah. Usually it's what's scarier is the void. There's a void around their energy that like there's a nothingness, and it's just very odd and very uncomfortable. So I've absolutely been able to pick up on that kind of stuff. Same thing. Like I don't watch much news, and I don't watch much political stuff either, because all of that is full of a lot of heaviness, toxicity. There's crime, there's pain, there's sorrow. It's so overwhelming to watch all that negativity or toxicity or people lying about stuff or, you know, or horrible crimes that happen to people. And it just overwhelms my sensory system to where I almost get sick. So I typically don't engage in any of that stuff either.
Yeah, I mean, even for normal people, watching the news can be, you know, anxiety-inducing, horrible. I can only imagine for you.
It's interesting that these things come through just even watching TV. Like I thought it was, you know, it has to be like, you know, mostly seeing it or hearing it in real life, but to see it like on a TV recording is amazing. So it's like all day for you. I can imagine how exhausting that must be.
Yeah, I typically, I'll find shows and things that I just like to binge on that will relax me or make me happy. You know, I'll watch reruns of old favorite programs, you know, that I like, or things that make me happy, and you know, I find my joy, you know, wherever I can, and so I do try to focus on that. Or if I really just need to ground and reconnect, like I was saying earlier, you know, before we got started, I was out in the garden for a few hours this afternoon. The rain had stopped from yesterday. It was nice. The sun's out. And I just got out there and was digging around in the dirt. I had a couple things to plant, you know, some weeding to do. And that's my way of also just sort of decompressing from everything, from day-to-day life, from humanity, from all of that. I can get very overstimulated in a lot of different ways. And then you add in the spirituality. It can be a lot.
Yeah, but so, Amy or Bobby, do you have a question? Or do you mind if I keep going?
Yeah, because my questions are going to pertain more towards Sac-Spirit, because I'm just curious about certain things that their activities in Sacramento. But so go ahead. I know yours is more personal.
Well, no, I mean, that is one of the things we need to get to. Can you tell us about your work with Sac-Spirit, and just for our audience, if, you know, maybe they're curious or they want to book an appointment with you?
Yeah, no, we absolutely can cover that too, because that is important. So yeah, I am the group coordinator, the empathic medium, the aura reader, the Reiki master. I am the head of Sac-Spirit, and my co-founder is Brent. We are married now, and which yay for that. Got married in 2021.
Oh, nice!
And
congratulations!
Yeah, congratulations!
You guys found each other through the paranormal. Is that what it is?
We did It's really,
Oh, nice.
yeah, actually did. Yeah. So a beautiful little spooky love story, and it's been a blessing ever since. And so that's been really amazing. But yeah, we founded this group, and just, and our other co-members do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But when we need them, they're always there for us. John and Wendy, they're big parts of the team as well. And we just, we are booking out quite far. We do try to take emergency cases when we can. Like I said before, I am a little bit behind in getting back to some people. I've got some pending emails that we've had a lot going on behind the scenes in the last few months. Like I mentioned before, I did have a major loss last year, and I've been trying to just get back in the groove, but there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's been slowing me down. So really trying my best on all of that. But most people most typically go to our website, sacspirit.com. They can go to the Contact Us page and fill out the fun little form, that's on there. Please hit submit, because there are people who don't, and then it goes off into oblivion. But once someone does that, they fill out their information. It sends an email to me, and I get, how to reach back out to them. And I can get them sort of triaged and figure out where I need to get them booked. If it's a private reading, there might be a little bit slightly longer of a wait versus somebody who's, terrified in the night, and needs us to come out sooner. I do kind of try to do first come, first serve to the best of my ability, but I also like to leave room for the emergencies, to, as much as I can. People can also reach out to us through direct message on Facebook, on Instagram. We do have a Twitter as well. We just kind of find us wherever, any of those ways. But honestly, filling out the contact form, that is the most streamlined way for me to keep track of the thread of everything that people are talking, like their first correspondence and all the back and forth that I might have with a client. It really does keep organized, or, try to keep it as consistent as possible. If I have to send clients aftercare resources as far as, ways to bless their home or grounding and like aura protection techniques and those sort of things, do like to have an email address for them so I can send them resources and all of that. But people can just kind of reach out, and we'll do our best to figure out how to help them, what they need, what they want. We do the full scale paranormal investigations, like I said, with all the equipment. We will get in there and sort of blend science and spirituality together, because they do belong together. Try to do all of the figuring of it out, using all of the equipment, and then figuring out a tailored blessing to what will rebalance the energy of a home. Or if they just need us to come out and just do a blessing only, absolutely can, and we'll do that. I've even done blessings when people buy new homes and they just want us to come out and bless the house and have a fresh start. Done that. People who just want energy work or a blessing of themselves, definitely do that as well. And then I do obviously offer the private readings, both in person if they're somewhat semi-local, or we do offer the phone readings as well, which requires sending the picture to me so I can do a pre-meditation a day or so before the reading, read the aura from the photo, listen to whatever the spirits tell me about what's coming through, and then, obviously give the reading to the client. So we also offer consultations. I'm almost like a spiritual counselor. I've done a lot of that too. Just a lot of helping people is, whatever way they need, whatever way they need us to show up for them, whether it's just me for a reading or if it's the whole team for a 7-hour investigation. Just got to, figure out what they need.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Just everything that you do is amazing. I mean, you wear so many hats, and so I understand about centering yourself and making sure you take the time out for yourself and get your grounding and everything, because that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. it is, and we'll basically, like I said, tailor it to what everyone needs. I've hybridized different cases and cherry pick from all the different things that we do to put it together for whatever recipe bakes the right cake for the client. Whatever they need out of us, we'll do our best to help. Some people want their cases filmed, some people don't. either one is fine. We love to document what we find because, you know, some of the science nerdy stuff is really cool when the meters go off and all that stuff. You know, that is fun. But it's not necessary. It's not mandatory for it to be documented in any way, shape, or form. We want to make sure we give them the answers and the peace of mind and the recipe for how to deal with this. And sometimes the things are banging around the house. It's not even, you know, anything scary. Sometimes it's just grandma.
So with all you have going, I definitely see why now I don't think anymore do the Sacramento History Museum in Old Sacramento to the haunted tours that you did. I don't think you do that anymore, correct?
We only did very little there. We've taken a few of the tours, and I worked with one of the people who was in charge of specifically for the Union Hotel, and she let us kind of almost take some parts of that over, but that just wasn't. There's a million reasons why that wasn't going to work out for scheduling and so forth. We did the whole full Union Hotel experience and met up and coordinated with them. The one gal that was kind of doing some of the stuff down there, she moved out of state. So it just sort of kind of fell to the wayside, I guess. And it's just one of those things. But I have done a couple of the underground tours as just a participant too. And that, you know, I love, actually my birthday's in not too long from the 22nd. So we're going to go to Old Sac and tool around and shop and see what spooky things are around anyway, because I can experience it anytime. I don't have to be there for a professional reason.
That's true. Yeah. I want to thank Melissa of S.P.I.R.I.T for joining us on tonight's episode. And you know how it is on Strange Darkness Radio. It wouldn't be strange without something strange happening. For whatever reason, the call was dropped. All the audio was lost at the end. Thank you, Melissa. Hope to have you back on. You're an incredible person. You have an incredible talent. And thanks for doing what you do. Until next time, this is Bobby with Strange Darkness Radio. We're out.
As your journey through the shadow realms of Strange Darkness Radio concludes, remember that you unlock the door to the paranormal with the key of imagination. Beyond it lies another dimension, a dimension of eerie soundscapes, chilling sights, and the profound depths of the mind. You're venturing into a land of both haunting shadows and tangible substance, where the ethereal meets the corporeal, and ideas take on a spectral form. You've just crossed over into the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. In the vast expanse of the paranormal, there exists a fifth dimension, extending beyond the known realms of our understanding. It is a dimension vast as the cosmos and eternal as infinity, a mysterious terrain between the illumination of light and the depths of shadow. This is the middle ground between the empirical and the supernatural, where fears fester in the pit of humanity's soul and knowledge ascends to its zenith. Welcome to the dimension of imagination, an area we dub the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. As you conclude your journey with us, remember that you're departing this peculiar zone, a place where reality intertwines with the surreal. Be cautious as you step out, for you may find that the boundaries between the normal and the paranormal blur, leaving you forever in the lingering embrace of the unknown. Until next time, farewell from the depths of the Strange Darkness Radio Zone.